Guys, I want to get loud all of a sudden.
Do it.
Sorry, I'm going to...
It's you. I knew it was coming.
I'm sorry, guys,
Can't
but I
hold 'em
need
back.
to do that.
It is. You feel like Poseidon chucking that bugger down in the water.
Sucking that bugger. Did you butt out that deer?
I did not butt out that deer, but the next one I get, it's getting its butt out.
Is that little Stevie out here in the back?
Drobop. Bow drop, I'm sorry. Drobop. Hello. Stay tuned. I'll be back after my seizure.
Every little chipmunk that was running around, everything's dead quiet, and I went like that. Just happened.
I saw what is in essence a nature-gasm. Welcome back to the Sonic Campfire. It's fire. You got the fires going now. I'm Will.
I'm Uncle Buck.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
This is Dave.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Pretty
going
good,
great.
bud. How are you?
It feels like it's been a little bit since we talked. I know it hasn't. I mean, I've been on vacation, and these guys, like.
It's been hit or miss. It's that busy time of year.
Right.
You know, when you have 7 guys and during warm weather, it's hard to corral us all into one.
Yeah, it's hard to keep you boys down.
Yeah.
But we're doing it. We have a big show.
Heck yeah.
Oh, it's going to get wild,
It's huge.
boys.
Is it gonna get
It might.
Quit being a jackass.
Sorry.
seriously?
See what we did there?
I hate to just give it this. I want to.
You want to tease it a little
I
bit?
want to tease it. I want to just I'm so
Come on.
jacked up. Like this is this guy I've been following for a very long time, and
I mean, our age group, where we're at in our lives.
yes,
You know, late 30s, early 40s. In that, this dude's in our wheelhouse.
Exactly.
There's nobody that doesn't know him.
nobody more epic. Nobody has pushed the limits and survived.
If Stevie was here, he'd say, "Get on with it."
Get on with it.
Pre-social media, even, guys. I mean,
yeah.
This is how far back this man.
This is back when MTV played music sometimes.
Sometimes.
This is why MTV doesn't play music anymore.
Yeah, because of
Yes.
a dude like this. Yeah.
Yes.
So, without further ado, I want to introduce
Get on with it.
Manny Puig.
Hey, Manny.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm just, sitting around, not doing anything today. I was invited to go out to the lake tonight, but I'm not going to go.
Oh, we screwed that up.
He's skipping
No,
it for
I had
us.
other things.
Awesome.
Carving steel and, I don't know, answering people, taking care of people, things like that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, I mean, Manny, just to get right to it, I mean, obviously, we know you from the Jackass episodes, from Wild Boys, all the stuff you've done on Discovery Channel, through Shark Week, and everything else.
Outdoor channel.
I just want to, I got to ask, so if Manny was invited out to a lake tonight, I mean, come on. What were you planning on chasing after this evening?
We're just going to gig some tilapia for dinner.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, if we were doing an episode or something, I would have waited for night, took on a flashlight, and gone over the side, started searching out features down there. I did a lot of, night dives in freshwater. You get to see a lot of cool stuff, a lot of fish, a lot of alligators. Things like that. It kind of like some of the episodes that I did, everything had to be life-threatening or very dangerous. It wasn't any good, That was the theme,
I'd prefer you do it without being life-threatening. It's still pretty cool.
This guy, and to Ryan's point earlier, there's another guy in Australia that is no longer here, Steve Irwin.
Right.
Like Manny and Steve Irwin kind of showed us another side completely to these animals that we grew up and learned to fear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just, like you said, I mean, you put yourself in harm's way, but you really did educate us. You really did show us another side of life.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff you can say is scientific or not scientific. Is a lot of stuff okay. I look at it, I get an idea, and I try it out and go for it, A lot of the stuff I did like that, learned from trial and error.
Where did it it come from? Like, when did you start diving with sharks and kind of wrestling alligators, or just, handling alligators in their element? Like, when did you kind of figure out that was the thing? Because it's just, all grew up feeling like these were monsters. These were sea monsters, or they were river monsters. How did you work that out?
I started out with lizards and frogs when I was 4 years old. Land crabs, that kind of stuff. Sticking my hand in holes to grab these critters. Watching a lot of movies like Sea Hunt, Tarzan, Western movies, cowboys and Indians, and all kinds of, safari movies, all kinds of stuff like that, involving dangerous wild animals and hunting and primitive stuff, medieval stuff, a lot of stuff like that on TV. I liked all that primitive stuff.
Yeah.
So, Manny,
when I was a kid, I was impressed by that. Go on.
So where did you grow up to have that as your backyard, to be able to mess with the lizards, to stick your hand down a hole for crabs, stuff like that?
Well, the crab holes, that was in Cuba, and I came over here when I was 6 years old. I'm 64 now. That was a long time ago. There were sharks and crocodiles. I remember seeing the first sharks down there. I saw a diver go down and spear one, and when I was a kid, right in front of me, I was looking from a high balcony, and the whole thing went down. And, I thought that was all really cool and interesting. And I used to watch Sea Hunt and go in the water, Lloyd Bridges, Mike Nelson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jeff his dad, he used to put on his suit, and put on his double tanks and go in the water and explore the ocean. So I was very much into that. That's what really caught my attention,
So have you always lived in Florida?
Actually, I lived in California for about 6 months before. I did a little bit of diving out there. I've been out there several dive trips. I did some diving out there for the Outdoor Channel with mako sharks. But I lived in Louisiana for a little while. I've been there, but mostly, Florida. I went to high school in Gainesville, Florida.
Everywhere there's
alligators all over Gainesville, all over Central Florida.
Everywhere there's teethy critters, that's where you've lived. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Miami, but every chance I got to go out into the woods or diving or into the swamp or something like that, I would go for it, My friends had a ranch when I was a kid, and I used to spend the summer out there, chasing wild animals.
Awesome.
I mean, I did this all my life, and then later on I got into TV, and by the time I was doing the Jackass and the Wild Boys is big exposure.
Oh yeah.
They're people that have seen a lot of stuff I've done, and more than half of them has been from. They always bring up Wild Boys.
I was honestly going to say that.
Comes from.
Like I had that just ever since you and I talked. I've been saying, hey, Manny's going to be coming on the show, and and they're like, yeah, how do we know that guy? And every time it was from the Wild Boys, and I'm like, no, he's done all this other stuff, and I've been like, yes, you're exactly right. I mean that was big exposure.
But
I did a lot of good work on the Outdoor Channel, but it's a smaller amount of people. But the young kids and all that, and they like to watch the Wild Boys. I basically do the same thing and everything, but the theme is different,
And the role
the Wild Boys, let's see how stupid and dangerous it can get, That's kind of like another guy, okay, what are we going to do here? Are we hunting, or we're going to do some wildlife conservation? What's the theme, Go this way, go that way with it,
But on the Wild... On the Wild Boys, I love the role that you took, though, Manny. You weren't the guy doing necessarily the crazy things. You were the voice of reason for those crazy dudes. If you would say, maybe I wouldn't do it like that, that was kind of cautioning them, then maybe they ought not to be doing something.
Right. If
and
Manny
I love
won't
that.
do it, oh my.
Exactly.
I don't do everything they do. I don't do everything they do. They did a lot of stuff that I wouldn't do. Some of the stuff they did, I recommended.
Right.
And, I knew they could survive. Some of the stuff I recommended. The idea was, mess them up and get them as close to death without getting them killed or maimed beyond repair. You know what I mean? That was anything in between. It was okay. That was the whole idea.
Was leeches on the eyeball?
Yeah, it's a funny movie. Everything is fun. You get hit with a hammer, it hurts, but you're okay. You get bit by this, it bleeds, but you're okay.
Yeah,
that's kind of like the theme, and it was funny. Some of the stuff I couldn't keep from laughing. And just I start laughing before I even do anything. Just the thought of it. Okay, what a great idea was this? Or some of the stuff they did just made me laugh a lot.
And that was the joy.
I had to do wild animals. I put it in there.
Right.
Ideas.
And Manny, that's the joy that I got in it, because I'm a little bit older than those guys, and so I identified with your role and that's why I fell in love with you then. Like, well, if Manny's not going to do it, then oh my gosh,
wow.
they are.
Yeah,
and now he's laughing. So what's going to happen here?
I could just imagine.
Yeah, listen, not everybody that hears these things. So many people, their minds are out there. Some are risk takers. Some are not too bright.
Yeah.
So everything they do out there and all the stuff, it's dangerous, and there's major consequences to stupid ideas.
Yeah.
So, I'm missing a finger. It wasn't in Wild Boys, it was in the After Channel, but it could have happened in Wild Boys.
Yes.
I did stuff over there where I could have been missing my head,
Wow.
So, yeah, exactly. So it is, I always tell everybody that, they always ask me, no, these animals are dangerous. They're not misunderstood. These things will kill you. They're man-eaters. A lot of them are. They're just horrific animals, and most of these creatures kill for a living. So keep that in mind, as far as the animals. And as far as, if you climb a mountain or you fall off a bridge and you hit yourself in the head, you're going to get seriously hurt or dead, or you fall off a mountain, you're going to get killed. Everything out there is dangerous. So I tell you, don't do this stuff. You're free to do it. But my recommendation is, I don't want to hear about it. I told you not to do it. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll have to do a parental, like a warning on the beginning of the show. Yeah. This is cool. So, take us kind of like, let's go kind of animal by animal. Like, you have guys that actually specialize in alligators, and you have guys that specialize in sharks, and you have guys that fish and hunt for grouper, and like it seems like everything you just kind of did it all
of it.
Yeah. And so
don't forget the snakes. I know you're trying to avoid snakes tonight.
I hate the snakes.
I know you do,
but
I want to talk about them, so don't forget them.
You're a snake guy, I guess, so you're not afraid of them.
Yeah, snakes are easy to work, easy to handle, and deadly. Everything is fine 1 second, but if you get bit, the venom starts to work on you, and that's just the beginning. It took me, I'm still recuperating from, 8 years later. My hand is still messed up from a snake bite. So,
wow.
I had to rearrange a lot of ideas.
So you had a finger that was bit by a Western diamondback. And
yes.
And how long did that, how long were you in the hospital after that?
I was in 4 days. I probably should have been there a month because I couldn't even. I stayed at my friend Buck's house for like 2 weeks. I couldn't get an airplane after I got out of the hospital. I was in so much pain. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move. I couldn't go anywhere. It was just a never-ending pain. It's just like a slow recuperation. And a month later, I had to get my finger cut off because it was destroyed. So, it's a hassle. I've been bitten by 4 different types of shark also,
Wow.
That was pretty bad, but not as bad as a rattlesnake bite. It depends on how it got you, what bit you, what happened, and all that. I also got bit by an alligator in the back once. He couldn't get a good grip on me, so he slipped his grip.
Oh, my gosh. And is that Colorado buck, your buddy?
No, that's the guy I was with, and I got bit by rattlesnake is Buck Medley. That was for the Outdoor Channel.
Oh, gotcha. I was going to say.
An episode. We were going to Texas to do a bunch of stuff, and the first day out there, I got, that ended the Texas trip. I said, okay, not only did I get bit, I just ruined everybody's week, pay, everything.
Well, and this is a great point.
What I mean?
Yeah, a great point to make, though, for people just to pay attention to. You were out, like, recording, looking for snakes, and you got bit. Yeah. How long was it from the time you got bit until you were somewhere where you were getting medical attention on that?
It took about an hour, and right. They were driving over 100 miles an hour.
So the point...
They kind of told the cops and everything, put the word out there, look, we're running to the hospital. It's a bad bite.
And
so I was far, they didn't know I got bit. I picked up the snake. It was all on camera, but they had to look real careful because they looked like I had control. And I'm holding the snake in my hand. It's a huge Western Diamondback, by the way. I'm holding him, and I look at the producer, and I just, right in front of the camera, tell, by the way, he got me. And they go, you're kidding. No, I'm not kidding. It's like, oh, wow. I was like, I'm holding the snake. Okay, what are we going to do with this? And everybody just, froze. And everybody, okay, let's get to the hospital. Everybody started, it's like from freezing to, a shock to reaction. Okay, get in, and let's see. I don't know if I should put ice on it or what to do. It's like, let me get out. And I knew it was bad. I could feel the venom, the swelling was horrendous.
So, do you know how many vials of Crofab, the anti-venom, that you got for that?
No, we're like a small operation. They don't carry that. That stuff has got to be kept frozen. It costs $3,000 for every little bottle of it. Nobody carries that with them.
Not with them, but at the hospital. Once you got to the hospital,
they have it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've taken care of a few people.
They get bit all the time in Texas. As a matter of fact, there were 2 other snake bites that same day from both Western Diamondbacks in the hospital that I showed up. So all across Texas, it's just like an everyday thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a rattlesnake behind every bush. So, you're in Texas,
wow.
Watch where you step,
And that's the point I wanted to make. It's like you said it was a long time. An hour's not that long. Like, we've got the Eastern Diamondback here in Pennsylvania, and you don't have to go far to be more than an hour away.
A timber. What you have in Pennsylvania is a timber rattlesnake.
The timber, I'm sorry, yes, you're right. But you don't have to go far to be more than an hour away from getting medical attention. Actually, most of the spots I hunt.
You know what it is? They got me there. By the time they get you there, they take the cord pad out, and then they got to warm it up with their hands. It's frozen, so you're waiting about another 15 to 20 minutes while they warm it up. So by the time you get to the hospital, let's say you got there 45 minutes, by the time they actually inject it into you, and they give me six vials, and I said, how about a 55-gallon drum of that stuff? I feel terrible. This thing hurts like crazy, and it's a big snake. I told these guys, no joking. They're all real relaxed. Well, it's like it's no big deal. You got bit by a rattlesnake. No, yeah, it is.
It's kind of a big deal.
So used to it. Well, that's kind of like the feeling I got. It's like okay. I mean, I was calm about it, but guys, let's get this moving on. No, how about some more of that? Keep pumping it in. And it's like, well, it's expensive. I was thinking, I'm going to croak here.
What kind of venom is it? Would you know that? Is it the neuro?
It's hemotoxin.
Hemotoxin.
Yeah, it's
hemo, but they also have neuro also, so I got nerve damage. See, most snakes have both, but they lean one way or the other. Like a cobra has got neurotoxin, and the rattlesnake's got hemotoxin. See, when a cobra bites you, it does a little bit of tissue damage or a lot of nerve damage, but if it doesn't kill you, you usually recuperate on one piece. So you can build an immunity against that. I don't think you can build immunity against hemotoxin, because by the time you're immune, you lost your arm, your leg, and
your finger
down the road. It destroys tissue.
It's an antiplatelet.
It attacks you, your flesh, your body, your brain, everything.
You basically bleed out in that area. You lose platelet function and clotting function. It's nasty.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, it's painful for the recipient. Hugely painful.
It's very painful. Like if you get bit by a shark, it hurts there that moment and everything, and a few days later, you're just careful. It's not that. Once it heals, it's not that steady pain like that.
Your limb is slowly dying.
The venom, it's like it's swelling and exploding, and it just doesn't. It doesn't stop.
I can only imagine. And Manny's doing a good job drawing a picture of what I've seen on the other side of the bed in the toxicology center.
Yeah, I mean, if you look up online, what snake bites look like, you don't want to look at them.
Purple. How far did that purple?
You don't want any bite. You get bit in half by a shark, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you don't know what hit you pretty much there, but a snake, you're going to feel it for a while.
And a gator to the
I got bit
back.
from behind. It felt like a machete from a shark. It felt like a machete hit the back of my leg. Hit the shin bone. It felt like somebody hit the machete. It's like, bang. I mean, I knew that was a shark. When I got bit by the alligator, I didn't see the alligator sneaking up behind me, or I don't know what speed he hit me. It felt like somebody hit me with a baseball bat across my back. That was a gator biting down on my back.
Oh,
And then like a cheese grater type of a feeling,
what's a cheese grater type?
like
of
just ripping the skin off. I can only imagine. Dang.
Well, he didn't get a good grip on me, so he slid with a wetsuit in his mouth like that. So he put like 12 scratches. It was a big alligator and a minor bite. It's miracle of God, no joke. And you know, with alligators, usually when they grab a hold of you, your leg or your arm's going to come off. But he didn't get my arm or my leg. You know, he had something's got a grip.
How do you go back into the water?
Yeah, good.
Ever.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's your? Do you have to talk yourself into it, or is it just you know the risk and you're just gonna hop in, or? I mean, you felt the risk.
When the alligator bit me, I confronted the alligator and I went after him. I started confronting him, and then ended up I started chasing him. I turned around on him.
Oh, get you.
Yeah, you know, I fought back at him and I went at him, and then finally he backed off, and I grabbed him and grabbed him by the neck, went in the water after him. I was going to scare him, so maybe he won't attack the next person. You know, I don't think anybody's going to be swimming out in the middle of the Everglades anytime soon, but just in case, I wanted to, turn it around on him where he doesn't see human as a prey. You know, whether it's going to work or not, at least that's what I did at the moment. And, the week after, I was in the swamp again. It's no problem. I was in the middle. I did a bunch more episodes with alligators after that. Same thing with the sharks too. I did after I got bit by sharks. Most of my shark bites came when I was really breaking barrier with the sharks, and then after that, I did specialize in hand feeding the sharks, riding the sharks, and then hand catching sharks also.
Yeah. The hand catching stuff and the feeding of the sharks, and so, like the makos and the blues, and have you interacted with great whites?
No, I never got the chance to interact with a great white. I mean, I interacted with everything that ever came across my path.
Right, right.
I saw my killer whales. I came face to face with killer whales in the wild in Alaska.
Wow.
Did that.
But the
makos, that'll kill everything in the ocean. What?
Yeah, the makos are ridiculous. Like some of those videos.
Real aggressive.
Yeah. Like they only care about food.
The mako's a great shark. It's a great shark because he'll work with you. He's extremely dangerous. The more dangerous a shark is, usually the better it is, because he'll come at you fearlessly, and he'll eat from your hand. And when I'm hand feeding, I would hold the fish and let him bite the other side of the fish, and I'd hold on so I could feel his power, shaking back and forth. You just got to make sure you don't end up with your hand in his mouth. I did have a mako cut a finger. In Shark Week, he sliced into one of my fingers, while I was hand feeding. But not bad at all. It wasn't bad at all. It's probably the least bite, the most minor bite I ever got.
Yeah.
Of course, if Mako would have got my whole hand in his mouth, he would have took it off.
Have you ever been bitten by like a dog or a cat?
I got bit by a domesticated dog when I was a kid. Not bad, And,
Did you bite it back?
Chased it?
Or punched it in the nose?
No, it's a pet dog, but never really bad like that,
Yeah.
So Manny, I don't know how to explain it, but I have so much respect for you to get in the water after you know the power and the strength of all these creatures, these animals. And, we go wet wading to Susquehanna, which there's nothing in there compared to Florida, to the Everglades.
Right.
Yeah.
And we still have this in the back of our head of what's under the murky water that we can't see.
Like every patch of grass.
Right. Is there going to be a little snake that pops out? Or
don't put your fears on me. When you say we, it's like you guys.
Snappers.
I get
snapping
it.
turtles,
Yeah.
Anything. And I just have I'm
Snapping turtle will bite the heck out of you.
Yeah, it will. But it's amazing how you can look back at these animals, what's going to happen, and you hop in the water, and you just have that respect, and it's great.
Okay, let me give you a scenario. If the water is deep, and it's very dark and very murky, and there's a lot of alligators, don't mess with it. If there's a lot of alligators and the water shallow, you can ease your way through it and locate the alligators. Sometimes keeping your hand underneath them and tapping them one by one. You can have done that before. Extremely dangerous, but it can be done. But certain circumstances, you can't handle it. If the water is deep and there's a lot of gators, you need a little bit of vis so you can see where they're at. So if you're being attacked from underwater, you can see it. But when it's deep, you can locate when they're coming at you, and there's too many of them. It's not gonna work to your advantage. That's not a good move.
I've been saying that for years.
There's another option, right? Like just go around it. Is the other option.
If you're hand feeding sharks in clear water, you always look down current. See, a lot of stuff. I mean, I could take you out there and you can do it, and you're fine. Doesn't mean you're going to be safe. You may lose an arm before the day's over, but you're going to be able. If not, you'll be able to do it. You hold the food, you scrape the fish, fresh fish. The blood goes down current. You face down current, so you can see the shark coming up. He's going to smell the blood and go up current to you. That's the whole idea. You look everywhere, but that's the main area you concentrate. You don't want your butt aiming down current and the fish up current from you, because if you're not even looking behind you, the shark's going to come and bite you from behind. In other words, if you got bait in the bottom, don't put a circle of people around it. Put everybody up the current of it.
I'm like Kobe beef for sharks. I mean, like I drink beer and I get massages all the time. Like they would love
you.
Eats a lot of corn.
Okay, don't drink beer and get in the water with the sharks. You need your senses.
Right. That makes sense.
Or keen up your survival instincts. Okay, it's a lot of it. You got to have your God-given intelligence, survival instincts.
Yeah, they would call me Will Goo. Will Goo beef.
Yeah. I would do the sharks before I would get in the water with the alligators.
Yeah.
Just because like you're saying, you can kind of see where they're coming from. I imagine, with you've been in water and you've seen the alligators while you're underwater. I'm not sure I could handle that, but that's just my fear factor going on.
Every alligator is different. Some alligators are more prone to man-eating than other gators are. When you get in, you don't know who's there or what's going to happen.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen every time you go out there. I've been in the water where I've seen, swim by 100 gators in one day in a swamp. No problem, that many easily.
Yeah.
And also, I hand-fed sharks in very dirty water. And you just got to, usually, hopefully not too deep, you got to stay focused and keep your eyes open. So when you look down current, so when that shark materializes, he'll be right there in front of you. You got, you keep your eye on. When you see him materialize, you can hand feed him right there at the last second.
Nice.
So it's not the best condition, but, in circumstances, I've done it and I've tried it and it works. It's just a little more, a bit more dangerous. That's what it is.
I'm looking around the table here, and everybody's jaws are just dropped from anything we've talked about so far.
Yeah. My biggest fear would be like
anything
of that in nature. But like what I not scuba dive, I snorkeled, and the snorkel is like your vision is greatly impaired. And I think that's what bothers me the absolute most is like
you've got no peripheral.
No, you've got whatever 270 plus whatever degrees of vision that you don't have anymore. You know what I mean? Like you can't see behind you to the sides. You just got this little window forward.
Well, you use a current to see which way he's gonna, which way the fish or shark is coming. But you look around. You don't stay looking. You don't want to tunnel vision yourself. Maybe they can catch something from the side and they'll scream. You can scream underwater and warn somebody. That's another thing you can do. Also, I mean, I'll do all these things with animals, but you never see me, skydiving or I'm not going to jump a bunch of cars in a motorcycle. I can't even drive a motorcycle to start out with, but it wouldn't occur to me to jump like, these guys. This guy's about to do 20 cars.
Like Travis, yeah.
A motorcycle, yeah. I'm not going to base jump off Mount Everest or anything like that. That's not my thing. My thing is always, mostly flatland and dangerous wild animals. I've messed with bears before, other animals out there. I've confronted, a few other creatures on land, but I feel more comfortable in the water. I can move better as a person in the water than I can on land.
Bears are probably harder to levitate.
Yeah, I can mess them in the water. This is my element. Yeah. Yeah, I've grabbed them and touched them in the water, got behind them, petted them, and everything else, but that's the water that gives me that advantage. But on land, I've had them rush up to me, but you can get killed real easily on land by bears. Not really good to mess with. I also got gored by a wild boar on a medieval wild boar hunt with spears. I thought it was a piece of cake. I haven't been around too much of that until I started finding out just how smart and dangerous those animals can get. So
where'd you do that at?
I did it here in Florida, and I got a hole in my leg still, and I got a missing tendon. On one arm, I got the rattlesnake damage. On the other arm, I have the wild boar cut a tendon out, out of my other arm.
He got you with the tusks, right?
Yeah, tusk. Yeah, they don't have a tusk, they'll bite you. If he gets hold of your fingers, he'll bite it off. He's very smart, and he's very fast, very strong, very agile, and he knows how to fight and how to use his weapons and everything. So it's and he could be 50 yards away on land, and if he feels like he's in danger, or you're hunting him or something like that, or circling, he could run up to you from 50 yards away and do a long distance attack on you like that. So he can do a number on you.
Yeah, my son got a wild boar. It was it's a juvenile boar. I would imagine it's right around 200 pounds, and the tusks weren't real long. But man, I couldn't get over how sharp the tusks were on that thing.
Well, no, a 200-pound boar is a good-sized boar, and he's still pretty fast and very strong. And the tusks don't have to be super big. They cut you wide open. I just met a guy the other day that his guts were knocked out of him. He had to put his guts back in his stomach after a boar cut him. So.
Oh, good Lord.
God.
Yeah. There's a few rowdy, a few tough guys out here in Florida that done a few things like that. I looked at him and I said, that's like, okay, I just got my guts are hanging out here in the woods. I'm going to push them back inside, get back in my truck here, and go to the doctor. Okay. That sounds like. It's like, whoa, that would have been a little, pretty bad.
So you were spear hunting wild boar, and that kind of ties into what we see on your Instagram now of you making, some spears, some tridents, some knives. Did you make that spear?
I made all those. I make them out of stainless steel. I make them from scratch. Some of them I'll draw them on a sheet. And then I'll have a computer cut my drawing right into the actual steel with a jet cutter. And then I got to grind it down and shape it and everything else. And I got to adjust the back of it. And then take the wood part, shave it down, put it in there. I do wood carvings on the wood to decorate them. And some of the knives I make, I just take a slab of steel and I start cutting around and shape it with a grinder. And I keep working on it. I like stainless steel, but it doesn't rust. And, it lasts a long time. It's very durable. I can put an edge on it. It's awesome. It looks, it's a beautiful metal. To me, it's worth more than gold,
Yeah.
It's harder.
There's definitely
more useful.
There's definitely some work and some thought that goes into it from what I've seen on the pictures. I mean, it's just some craftsmanship, definitely.
Oh, it's art.
It's art.
Yeah. What kind of what got you started in that?
Well, I like primitive. I'm a history fanatic. Most people don't know that, but I watch history stuff all day. I read books about history and everything. The Romans used tridents in the arena, but they didn't use them necessarily for hunting. But I found out if I threw a trident, like say the boar, instead of a spear, I'm more likely to hit it because I got 3 spears coming at it in points instead of 1. So it was more accurate, and I could protect myself better. So I went from a spear to a trident throwing because of that reason. And also they look cool.
Yeah.
I like Viking spear. Like, to me, the modern weapons and everything, they look like plastic toys.
Okay.
I like ancient looking stuff, all decorated. I could be in a museum all day looking at the spears and swords from back then and the axes and all that stuff. I like all that stuff.
Yeah, that stuff's great.
And I like the simplicity of it. Like one of my favorite ways to go fishing is with my hands. I'll go in the water and I'll grab fish with my hands. I figure ways how to get close to them, how to grab them in a hole, how to, trap them by hand. Or I started with spear guns. I just like using a hand spear.
Okay.
Or a small trident, and I go in the water and I'll stick a fish with it, in the ocean, and I'll fish with a spear. I'll do that. I'll catch a fish that way.
So, do you ever learn This is kind of like, out of the box kind of thinking, but like, do you ever learn from the animals that you interact with and how to fish with spears and how to fish with your hands? Do you ever kind of take techniques and different things or keys from gators or other fish that kind of lay in wait or bait or whatever?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Alligators ambush, mako sharks ambush like billfish from behind, like swordfish. They bite the tail off, they break it off so they can't swim. They go after them. Bullfish like marlin, swordfish, they use their bill to spear fish or to whack them. They'll spear a tuna and kill it, just like a spearfish from the Hinga spearfishes. So, spearing was invented by wild animals before people ever did it. But it's kind of like a common sense, okay, I'm going to go down there, or I'm going to spear this fish, or I'm going to get that wild boar. I don't have a gun, but I'm going to get downwind of it so he can't smell me and get as close as I can, and I'm going to throw the spear into him and then try to find it afterwards. And, and hopefully he's dead so he doesn't come back and attack me, It's just like, all these things can be done, but they're not necessarily easy. And your stealth, your skills, your intelligence, everything you have, you put to a test, and the outcome is never guaranteed. You never know what's going to happen. If you're spearing that way, majority of the time you're not going to get anything. You go out in the woods with a spear, it ain't like you're going to come back home and with a deer. In some states it's legal, or with a boar or something like that. And it ain't going to happen. More likely come back home with nothing because you're put yourself at a greater disadvantage. So sometimes it's not about how many you get. It's about, the patience and the skill it took involved you appreciate it more that way. Something like that. That's kind of like my mentality. I caught a barracuda with a knife, and that cuda was the biggest. I appreciated that cuda more than any other barracuda I ever caught with a spear. I got him with spear guns and with pole spears, and I got one with a knife, and I was hand feeding and I took it with a knife. That's a very fast fish, also very dangerous. And it's like almost impossible catch to do. And so that's one of the fishes that I price, for example.
Yeah.
It's not the rarest fish or anything like that. It's quite common, but is the catch, the way it was done.
Yeah,
it was like
the method. The method was rare. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Exactly.
Between its teeth and your knife, how did you not cut yourself that close?
Well, I speared a fish, and a bunch of cudas came and started feeding on the fishes in the Carolinas. The fish were all biting away at what I had. The fish had in my hands, and it occurred to me to pull out my knife and stick a cuda in the side and grab by the gills immediately. So when I came to the boat, I had the cuda grabbed by the gills. It was still alive. The knife had only gone in a couple inches on the side, so I had a fresh cuda, and I was hanging on with everything I could onto that barracuda.
Oh, Lord.
I got at the boat. The shark came up, and I go, I'm not going to let the shark eat this one because I want a picture with it. And to this day, I have a picture holding the barracuda and holding the knife.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Wow. So another question I have is, how much does camouflage, so we're big hunters up we're hunters up here in the Northeast. When you're hunting deer and things like that, camouflage is everything. But when I see Manny videos, it's pretty much Manny in a Speedo or Manny with a wetsuit. Do you rely on camouflage?
Well, it depends what you're doing. If you're in dirty water, sometimes it's not necessarily, if you're diving at night with a light, you put a light in front of a fish, he doesn't see you well because you got a light aimed at him. I've caught fish by hand at night because I put a light on him, and he couldn't see my hand coming at him until it was too close, and I grabbed him. But, camouflage can help. It also looks really cool, though. I love camouflage. Whether it works or not, it looks cool. But I'm sure certain circumstances it can help because if you're standing out and your outline is right there, a lot of animals are going to see you right there, or your movement, or a lot of times your movement or your outline is seen. If you stand out in the open, and there's no camo around you, no trees or anything, you're in the open, they're going to spot you, or they're going to smell you, or they're going to hear your noise. Or if you move, all of a sudden you see a deer come up and you pull your bow back, he sees you do that movement, he'll pick up on it, and he knows you're right there, and he's gone. On a snake, I move at it real slow. I know a snake is a lot faster than I am, so when I would pick up a deadly snake, I would get my hands on him real slow, straight from the top to avoid his heat sensors, and I slowly pet the top of his head, real gentle, and I get my hands around him, and that's how I used to pick him up. And I go, don't do anything fast. Just don't threaten the snake and get my hands on him or get my hands underneath him. It's all a very calm, not threatening approach. On a gator, get underneath him. Lift up his head so he doesn't see you, and gently up with him. If you tilt him all the way up, he goes into tonic immobility, more than likely. It'll throw him off, just like I've done with sharks, too. With sharks in tonic immobility. Sometimes I did it with a hammerhead by grabbing it by the nose. I did it with Silky, flipping on his back and lifting him out of the water. So, there's different things that you can do like that with different sharks.
And how you learn this by keeping all your limbs, let alone your life, it's mind blowing. How you?
I've almost lost my life quite a few times, so I thank the good Lord that I didn't. You learn a lot, and as years gone by, what I've learned more than anything is, the more I learn, the more I learn how dangerous these animals are. It's not like it's a myth. No, these things are more dangerous than everything turned out to be more dangerous than what I thought it was. The first impression, you think, that wasn't so bad. Try it again, and then one day you're going to find out they're holding a card you've never seen before. And you find out really, you have a wake-up call. This thing was a whole lot more dangerous than I thought it was, this creature. So that happens.
Manny,
and
your underlying theme is respect. I mean, you respect everything. Like, you respect nature, you respect power, you respect the danger. What developed?
First of all, I respect people. That's rule number one. Always I believe in respecting people. Treat people with respect. I always do that. Animals, respect them. They're extremely dangerous. I respect I like the wild animals. I respect them. I think when most hunters, when they get a nice animal, something like that, I think they respect it too.
Yeah.
I think people, fishermen catch a nice fish, they respect that fish. They're thankful they got it. It's kind of like that. I think the wild animals are very interesting. They're awesome. I mean, they do, whether you're a hunter or not, they do deserve some kind of respect. They're a magnificent creation. They're awesome. Some of these animals are great to look at. Others are good to eat. They're sporty to catch. They're game animals that decorate the woods. I'm like, harvest, but don't take everything.
Amen.
Manage your fisheries, manage your hunting, and I guess compared to other countries, they've done a great job because up there, your deer population is to the ceiling. You got bears, you got deer, you got fish, you have everything. So you guys have managed your outdoors very well. I can see that. Pennsylvania is phenomenal.
Yeah, the conservation effort is at the top of the list of things that are important to hunters. So, people who hunt, people who fish.
Hunters they're going to protect their species they hunt.
Absolutely.
When they go out there, they want to make sure there's deer out there. They want to make, when they go fishing, you want to make sure there's fish in the lake. So it's kind of like what it boils down to,
What did Teddy Roosevelt say? You want to save a species? Start selling a license for it.
I'd like to go back, if we could, to the snake thing again, because I'm intrigued.
You keep going to that
because I'm intrigued by this idea that you're going above the head. Obviously, you said to get to stay away from
You can go your timber rattlesnake, but I don't recommend it. See, he picks up heat from the sides. You go straight down. Remember, Tom, I think it was a Chris Plenty that put the cookie in the head of a rattlesnake and had him pick off the cookie off his head.
Right.
I put him at great risk. And he ate the cookie. And the cookie wasn't that good after all. I just risked his life to get it, but something like that. But it's kind of like, you can do this, you can get away with it, but it ain't safe. And you don't want to scare the snake. If you sit quietly, and the snake calms down. And once it feels like you're not threatening, a lot of these animals, they'll bite you because they feel like threatened. But if you take your time with them, sometimes you wait around, let them chill out. Eventually, you can get your hands on them. I know plenty of people that free handle rattlesnakes similar to the way I do it. They pick them up by the tail, they put a hand underneath them, they put them around their neck, and it's called free handling. It means the rattlesnake is not secure by the head. It can bite at any time it wants to.
Okay.
And the way they handle it, they interact with it, and the snake, most of the time, they don't get bit. But one day, sooner or later, they all get bit.
Yeah. Well, and that was going to be my question, because most of the time when you see people handling snakes, venomous or not, you often will see them go for the tail and lift the body up, and then they can control the head.
Yeah, I remember
at least the direction of the head.
Steve Irwin used to do that, the tail
Under it. Yeah. Steve Irwin avoided the head to avoid stressing the snake out and to avoid getting bit. I remember him saying that. He wasn't. I don't know if you ever got bit by a venomous snake. He always picked up the tail and avoided the head. If you do that, you're less likely to get bit. Once you secure the head, they can put a fang outside their jaw and angle it and hit you in the thumb or in your finger. They can bite through the jaw to get you. So, and the head is very wobbly. It's not easy to hold on to. So, the free handling is you don't stress the snake out. I picked up a rattlesnake. It's coiled up, ready to strike. I got my hands underneath him, so I'm walking around, and he's coiled up in my hands. And I got both of my hands underneath him. It's like a pancake. And he's striking anywhere direction. He's ready to strike. And you can get away with that, but it doesn't mean you're always going to get away with it.
Right.
You do it this time, do it that time. But yeah, it's called free handling. And a lot of guys will reach into the bushes, pick up a rattlesnake, or they'll have their own pet rattlesnake they pick up and slowly interact with it, and then they, some snakes are easier than others. When you're in the woods, you don't know what you're going to find. But yeah, it's the free handling. It looks more impressive. It looks cool. It's more skillful to do. It's a lot of skill it takes to do that. So,
well, I have a 4.5 foot ball python at the house.
Now you're showing off.
It's my daughter's. It was my daughter's pet. She wanted to have it. She was 8 years old and wanted a snake, so we got this pet. And I was actually just feeding it Tuesday night, and it struck at me. It didn't get me, but. It's not venomous or anything, but it'll wake you up.
It's not venomous. It's not venomous. They're usually pretty good snakes. Now, a big python sometimes can easily kill a person. Fast. Yeah. Faster than a rattlesnake. Real fast.
Well, they're a constrictor.
One of those giant 20-foot reticulate pythons or something like that, that'll kill and eat you. So.
Well, that's also why we went with the ball python. So it's going to be 6 foot is about the max that we're going to get.
Yeah,
so
that's not gonna eat anybody.
But it'll wake you up real quick when I'm reaching in to get him out to feed him, and he decides that my hand looked tasty.
Yeah, he probably got a little confused, but other than that, they usually are pretty good snakes.
Oh yeah, he's been great. That was the only time that ever happened, but it was just funny that I found out we were going to be talking to you this week.
It's a wild animal. Either way, animals bite. It's just
You don't need to. Yeah, you don't need to start snake noodling to impress Manny. So, having said that, what do you think about all those snakes, that people, the glades have kind of adopted over the years? The pythons, and now I heard somebody talking the other day that there's cobras down there.
Pythons in Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them down there. When they first started spreading out, they're easy to find. Now they're hard to find. You got to go to areas that people haven't been hunting for them, and then you can find them. But they're not as easy to find as everybody thinks they are. You really got to know how to look for them and in the right places.
You're the first person I heard say that everyone we talk to, it's that's the next big thing, and it's they're everywhere, and yeah. So
it's not. I think everybody's exaggerating. It's not the problem. It is, especially everybody hunting for them. If they weren't hunting for them, they eat raccoons, they eat other wildlife. Some of our wildlife will eat them also, especially when they're young. But so they get eaten, but they reproduce very fast. That's part of the problem. And they eat meat, so they're going to be eating a lot of birds and a lot of rabbits, a lot of raccoons, and They found one with a deer, they'll eat some of the smaller gators. The bigger ones will eat the smaller gators. The bigger gators will eat the pythons, too.
Gotcha.
My idea, they need to be hunted just in case. We don't want them to over-impact the environment, so it's a good thing people hunt them. They should create a market for them. The animals can be valuable, so, commercial-wise, so I think they should, create a market for them to keep people hunting them, so they don't keep them under control, so they don't become more of a problem than they are, just keep the pressure on them.
Right. Now, being in Florida, kind of the fishing capital of the U.S., what's your favorite fish to eat? Because you have multiple species that you can go any which direction from your area, and even from saltwater to other saltwater species, and you're spear fishing, so you're not going to catch and release that. So what's your favorite table fare of fish?
Well, and I like to eat barracudas. I like barracuda, I like snapper, I like grouper, I like mullet, believe it or not. And in freshwater, I like to eat the tilapias, I like the catfish, guardfish, which most people don't know they're good to eat. I got Ciguatera poisoning from eating saltwater fish, reef fish, so I got to be real careful. So I'm not afraid of eating grouper, snapper, any fish that live around the reef, because once you get that tropical fish poisoning, it accumulates in your body. Especially somebody who's been eating fish in the reef their entire life, you're more likely to get it than somebody who never has. If you don't build up immunity, your body accumulates the cetotoxic poison in your body, and it's a toxin. It grows naturally in the reef. It doesn't hurt the fish.
Okay.
It only make the person sick who ate it, and it can give you like diarrhea. You have your nerve system gets damaged. You touch something hot and it feels cold. What cold feels vice versa.
Really?
So it does that, and I ended up getting that, and so I'm a little scared of eating. I'll eat a salmon. That's what I'm going to eat tonight.
Yeah.
And I'll eat a salmon or a north cold water fish.
Okay.
In the ocean. Now, it doesn't occur in freshwater, so more likely I prefer something right now to eat just freshwater fish like tilapia.
Right. What's the
tilapia
one?
Is invasive, but to me it's a welcome species. I don't consider invasive. The alligators like to eat them. I like to eat them. I think Florida's doing fine with the tilapia.
Right.
It's great fish.
Doesn't the barracuda also carry something? That's like a.
That's it.
Oh, that's the one. Okay, that's the same thing. Okay.
That's not only barracuda. Everybody mentions barracudas. I love eating barracuda. But it ain't just a barracuda. It's grouper, snapper, even hogfish.
Okay.
Any big tropical predatory fish can have it.
Okay.
Around the coral reef.
Nice.
I mean, if you eat like smaller fish, like grunts and small snappers, whatever, mullet and stuff like that, that's not going to have it. But the top predators, yeah, they'll get it in tropical waters.
Okay.
Like the Caribbean, Hawaii has it, the Philippines. It's not just in the Atlantic and the Pacific. Florida Keys, Bahamas, all that area there.
Okay.
If you eat amberjack, like in the Carolinas, it's less likely to have it than amberjack in the Caribbean, for example.
And that's just all like temperature related, I guess.
It has to do with the coral.
Okay. The coral. Nice. I did not know that.
It has to do with it grows around tropical reefs. The further north, there's no tropical reefs, so it's tropical fish. Where you have islands of South Pacific, places like that.
Okay.
And you say that it makes hot things feel cold.
Yeah, it can make you vomit, give you diarrhea, weaken your legs, make your teeth fall out, things like that, your hair fall out. It can do a lot of stuff like that.
Oh, that went way further than I ever wanted.
It can kill you. On a rare occasion, it can kill you, but it can intoxicate you for years.
Yeah.
A friend of mine got it real bad, and then years later, he ate a fish, and it hit him again. Because if you like a fish, only eat a small amount of it, and it can eat you. Like my fiance ate some of the grouper that I ate, and nothing happened to her, but she hasn't eaten as many reef fish as I have.
Right.
So I got it. It's from, I think if you eat one too many, you can get it. Tropical, fish in the tropics. But other than that, I mean, Florida's got plenty of fish to eat. Yeah, you can. There's fishing on the Gulf side, on the Atlantic side of in freshwater, we've got some tremendous bass fishing. We got a lot of stuff here.
It is incredible. Like I told you on the phone, we were down last summer for peacock bass in southern Florida, and we got to got to check out the glades.
Brought in from the Amazon, but the people love them here. It's a great fish. It's considered a big game fish. Florida is the only place in the world you find alligators and crocodiles and mountain lions and bears in the same place. You can actually go into 1 square mile and see one of each.
Yep.
It can happen. It's only in Florida. It's one of the rarest places on earth you can see something like that.
Have you seen Puma, the mountain lion?
No,
shoes.
That's the one thing I haven't seen. I've seen their tracks and everything. I've never seen them. My friends see them all the time. They live up there. They see them constantly. I've seen a lot of bears. We have a lot of black bears in Florida. I mean, they're everywhere. When I was a kid, they were hunting them. There wasn't as many, but they've been protected so long. They had a very short season, and the quota got filled in about 2 seconds. But the bear population is really, really high right now. I mean, a guy was up in a tree stand hunting deer. He saw 9 bears. Another guy saw 11 bears under a feeder. It's just, it's all across the state. Many places, a lot of black bear right now, big ones too.
I was going to ask, do they grow bigger, like because they don't hibernate or as much or at all, or how do bears?
The males, especially, they don't hibernate and they grow big. They're eating year round, so they got some. Normally, mammals, the further north you go, the bigger they get. But with the bears, we have some big ones because of the hibernation factor. They don't hibernate.
Just like your bass.
Like in the Carolina. Yeah, in the Carolinas, the bears that live in the swamp are bigger than the bears that live in the mountains.
I think 400 pounds or something will get you in the door.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah.
And we feel good at 200.
You guys got an 800-pound bear right in Pennsylvania. There's a record of about 800-pound black bear.
Yeah,
that's huge up here.
Yeah, I've seen it. We do have some in that range down here. I mean, I know there was one case, I think years ago, somebody shot one on the Indian reservation. I heard it was, I think it was 670 pounds.
Sheesh.
It was an accidental shooting, and the Game and Fish said that nobody can take that bear out of the reservation. The remains got to stay here. One of those deals. And that's what I heard. I heard a story from somebody that knew about it, and that's what they told me. But it was a pretty big animal.
As we do the podcast, we run into people around the world now really doing us a big solid by telling us, what it's like in your part of the world. And we're really growing, I think, as hunters and fishermen. I really do appreciate you taking the time and doing this for us. We're bumping up on time.
Time flies when you're having fun.
And I'm like, no, it can't be an hour. And it's been an hour for sure.
I've got more snake questions.
I bet. I can't. So, but Manny, I've been a big fan for a long time. So have these guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for even entertaining this. It means a lot. And I wish we could talk even longer. I'm sure
But while we got him, before we let him go,
it's all right. I gotta have dinner, but it's. I mean, I like talking. I like that topic. I mean, I talk a lot. I got like a attention deficit disorder. So I talk a lot. So I like talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, Manny, before we do let you go, though, can you let all of our listeners know where they could go to check you out, what you've got going on, take a look at some of that amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep calling it art, but those weapons that you're making are absolutely phenomenal.
It is art. I'm an artist. I mean, I do all kinds of art, wood carvings and everything, and bronze statues and all. Probably Instagram is good, and Facebook. If you go on Facebook, I have a picture of me with a trident in my hand and a wild boar. If it doesn't have that, it's not my page, even though it's my picture. It's my Facebook page. I don't know anything about Facebook. My fiance does it for me because I'm computer illiterate. I'm very primitive, Sometimes I just don't learn. The high-tech stuff is really mind-boggling to me, even figured out. The internet was mind-boggling to me, when it came out. And also on Instagram, you'll see me. I got all my stuff up there, videos showing my spears and all that stuff. If it doesn't have that, you're not on the right page.
Yeah.
I have put a video also sometimes. some of the videos. Also, I did some video of the tilapia hunting that we recently did up at the lake, things like that. We're using our tridents, me and some friends. So, yeah, definitely there you can.
Yeah, I believe it's Manny _Puig _ your art and the weapons are not only art, they are beautiful, but they're effective, they're usable, they're real,
functional.
Nobody in North America makes a trident of that kind of strength and durability and quality. You know what I mean? It doesn't exist. I've never seen it. Some of these things I made because I couldn't find them anywhere, and I had to, make my own. That's one of the reasons I started making them. They're industrial strength. They're well made. Let's put it this way: the Vikings and the Gladiators and everything, what they had wasn't as good as what I got now.
Nice.
Awesome. All right. Well,
thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank
man.
you so much.
Thanks, Manny.
All right, guys.
Will?
Call anytime. Take care.
Hey, we appreciate it, bud.
Will, where can they find us?
Well, you can find us at www.ruttenriverpursuits.com. You can also check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Castbox. And if you want to look on social media, check out us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're at Rutten River Pursuits. And if you go to YouTube, it's Rutten River Pursuits Podcast.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, fellas.
Awesome episode,
Talk to you
guys.
soon.
Awesome time,
See
guys.
ya.
All right. Peace.
Bring it, Wayman.
Trash Panda Hip Quiver.
And we still have this in the back of our head of what's under the murky water that we can't see.
Like every patch of grass.
Right. Is there going to be a little snake that pops out or
Don't put your fears on me. When you say we, it's like you guys.
Snappers.
I get
snapping turtles, anything.
I'm like Kobe beef for sharks. I mean, like I drink beer and I get massages all the time. Like they would love
you.
Eats a lot of corn.
Okay, well, don't drink beer and get in the water with sharks. You need your senses.
Right.
There's not
That
a
makes
chance.
sense.